What's going on, folks? Welcome back to We the Champs. I'm your host, Jalen, and welcome to your favorite sports show, the best sports show. And I've been doing a college football Power Four conference tour preview. And today we're on the last one. As you can see, I got the Georgia shirt on, and we're talking SEC football, baby. All right. So the SEC is the premier football conference in college football. I mean, it's the Premier League of college football. If you know soccer, you know the Premier League's the best league in the world. This is what the SEC is. Okay. All right. I do believe it's likely that the national champion will come from this conference. I mean, you look at damn near the past 19, 18 years, there has been two Big Ten champions. Michigan last year, congrats to Michigan. Ohio State, like maybe 7 years ago, I'm not exact, or 8 years ago, I'm not exactly sure. And then we had FSU once and Clemson 2 times. So if you're looking at recent history, the champion's going to come from this conference. All right. So let's get into it, guys. We're going to look over some teams, look over the contenders, the bottom feeders, the middle tiers, best quarterbacks, and whatever. All right. And the best team, Georgia. All right. So this is my tier for your national champ contenders. We're looking at UGA, Bama, Ole Miss, and Texas. All right. And if we're looking at our playoff contenders and the teams that can come into the 12 football playoff format, Missouri, LSU, and those are like my upper tier of that tier. And then followed behind them are Oklahoma, Tennessee, and then we have the mid ranks: Kentucky, South Carolina, Auburn, A&M, Florida, and you got your bottom fighters: Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, or whatever. All right. So just a roundabout of the best quarterbacks in this conference. We have Jalen Milroe returning out of Alabama. Of course, Carson Beck for the Dogs. Definitely a Heisman contenders in those two. Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, the high-flying offense of Ole Miss. They got to get it going. And then we also have Brady Cook out of Missouri, solid quarterback for them last year. Coming into this season with his receiver corps back, it could be dangerous. And then, of course, another Heisman hopeful in Quinn Ewers coming back after making the 14 playoff with the University of Texas last year. And Nico's, I've been butchering a lot of names on these shows. So by mid-season, I will know how to pronounce everybody's names. Is Nico Iamaleava, all right? All right. So those are a round of our best quarterbacks in the league, okay? So let's take a look at some contenders. We have Bama. Okay, so there's a lot of change with Bama going on here. All right. So, you know, they had the hangover from making it to the playoffs and edging out Georgia in the SEC championship game. Kalen DeBoer, championship game, Washington head coach, took the job. I don't even think Bama thought twice. They reached out to him. He was probably like, hell yeah, let's make it happen. He will be successful. This will be this will continue to be a badass program under Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. If he got Washington to the title game, man, I'm definitely sure Alabama will be there in a few years, but not this season. All right. They also got a new offensive coordinator that came with Kalen, Coach DeBoer from Washington, new defensive coordinator from South Alabama. He's actually bringing in a new defensive formation. So that's major change. They're reloading at corner and pass rusher, and they're also replacing 40 players that left through the portal and the draft after last season. So it's a lot of change in Bama, man. But I just think they're going to be war ready. Kalen DeBoer's not coming in here saying, all right, we're going to improve, guys. Yeah, he means they're going to improve and win the national championship game. That's what he's talking about as far as improving, okay? So, yeah, Bama's looking dangerous. I'm checking out the schedule right here. They play Texas, Ole Miss at home, Tennessee at home, LSU at home, and they go to Georgia. So that's a brutal schedule. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at last year's schedule. All right. They play Georgia at home. They play at Tennessee, Missouri at home, at LSU, Oklahoma. Um, that's a pretty deal-wittable schedule. It's a new word, wittable schedule. So definitely excited to see Alabama here in action. But let's just cut to the chase. Let's talk about these dogs real quick. The number one in the preseason poll is this is Georgia's year, man. And one thing we keep doing with Georgia, we're not comparing them to the rest of the field. We compare them to the previous two title championship roster teams. I mean, we're looking at them. We definitely have turnover of talent, but they're not short of talent anywhere. 5-star recruits all over the place for Georgia. I mean, these dogs are going to eat. They had the Heisman candidate and Carson Beck, preseason all SEC team quarterback here, as well as the best coach in college football and Kirby Smart. Okay. And let me just go ahead and give y'all my biased opinion. I think Georgia's going to have some tough games, but I believe they're going to stomp their way to the title game. And specifically, so hear me out. Hear me out right here. We're looking at Kirby Smart, top-notch team, top recruits, Carson Beck, Heisman candidate. And the one thing that kept Kirby Smart from winning the championship games the years he didn't, other than that LSU season when they were freaking amazing with Joe Burrow and Chase and Jefferson and everybody else, was Nick Saban. Nick Saban is no longer in college football. I mean, you look last year, they lost to them in the SEC championship game. There's still a good chance Georgia would have won. I'm being biased, guys. I'm letting you know, I'm being biased, but this is my honest opinion. You look prior, when they went to the championship game with Jake Fromm at quarterback, they lost to Bama then. The sensei has to whip up on the student a few times before he gets a W, and then he gets them back, that being last year. So I just think with Nick Saban solely, that one man out of the picture, that just gives Georgia not quite a clear shot, but a clear shot to make the championship game. All right. So let's keep talking about these contenders, national championship contenders in the SEC. Then we have LSU. Last year, they were previously the number one offense in the nation. The number one offense in the nation. However, they lose some talent there. They're replacing quarterback Heisman quarterback Jaden Daniels went to the NFL draft, got drafted, of course, by the Commanders. They're replacing him with Garrett Nassmeyer. Damn, see, I keep butchering these names, bro. These guys' names are all over the place. He had a big performance in the bowl game versus Wisconsin last season. So, they're looking to build up on that. And pretty much, if this offensive line is really good, if this offensive line is straight, because let me just call him Garrett. Garrett's more so the pocket passer type, not a dual threat like Jaden Daniels. If this offensive line holds up sturdy, then this offense won't miss a beat. Probably not as versatile with the dual threat ability going, but they're not going to miss a beat here. All right. They have a new defensive coordinator, Blake Baker from Missouri. The defense wasn't good last year. They gave up 462 yards a game, 28 points per game. This defense just has to be big time. Well, not big time, but formidable. They can't give up big time points and yardage like they did the previous year, which we saw. But LSU was really good last season. I believe their only losses were, they went 10-3. Lost to Florida State at the beginning of the season, Ole Miss, and Bama. So, it's only taking big dogs to take them out. All right. All right, let's keep it moving with the contenders. All right. Let's chat up Ole Miss. I believe they have there's another Heisman candidate, hopeful, and Jackson Dart, returning quarterback. He aired it out, man. They're beasts. Ole Miss are beasts. Lane Kiffin is the head coach. You know, he's had a bounce around career, but he's finally finding a big premier home at Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. And this is something this state and this team, university, has been craving for a long time, is a dominant big time team. Okay. They have most of their guys coming back this season. They added some guys through the transfer portal, and they honestly, they just they got to get this defense accordingly. I mean, they played some games last year, but they gave up 52 points to Georgia. We got to shore that up, guys. We got to put some resources in there. They're returning some guys, but we're going to see. Let's keep Ole Miss on that radar. And I'm looking at this schedule right here, and it's like every schedule in the SEC is just like everybody has to go through the gauntlet except for Missouri. We're going to chat about Missouri, okay? I'm looking at their 2024 schedule. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Southern, Kentucky, South Carolina. Okay, it gets tough. October 12th, they play at LSU, followed by Oklahoma. I think they'll scrape Oklahoma. Then they play Georgia at home, followed by Florida. Hey, if Ole Miss can manage that LSU game or that Georgia game, I can see them running the table, being 11-1 right here in the regular season, and definitely securing a strong spot in the college football playoffs. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it moving. Texas. Not too much to say about Texas. They lost to Washington in the college football playoffs in the semifinals. They're returning some good guys here. They're getting the top talent, 5 stars, 4 stars, all over the place. Quinn Ewers, whatever. Their reigning Heisman hopeful is returning back, and if he goes down, they have Arch Manning, a damn top-notch prospect, the Manning brothers' nephew, actually. And let's see here. They beat Alabama last year, but do they have them on the schedule this year? Looking at this schedule, honestly, they play Michigan September 7th in week 2. That's going to set precedent for the rest of the season for Texas, depending on how that game goes. They lose, we're horns down. We're not hopeful for the season, especially in the fashion of how they lose. They win. If they end up beating the hell out of Michigan, answer me this. Does that say more about Texas or more about Michigan for the season? Okay. All right. So that does it for the round of national championship contenders. Let's talk about some playoff contenders. All right. So Missouri is a fun team. I remember them going to the championship game some years ago, winning out the SEC East and actually beating Georgia. Sad face. They have a balanced team returning. They need their defense to be improved. And they have arguably, oh, my bad. Excuse me. They have arguably the best receiver. My bad, guys. Sorry to talk about the dog. They have arguably the best receiver in Luther Burden the third at the helm. Superstar receivers going to go early in the draft this year. So they could slay some big teams. Missouri can make it to the playoffs and actually make some noise. All right. Now, I took a look at their schedule. The schedule's not too bad. They start Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, a game I believe they will crush. At Massachusetts, Auburn, a top rushing offense team, could cause some trouble. We got to see how those the hall of new receivers come in, especially they have like 4 big time freshman receivers coming in. One of them a 5-star. All right. Then Alabama, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. They finished 11-2 last year. With Brady Cook as a senior quarterback, I definitely believe this team will be better for this season. And I can see Missouri going 11-1 with their only loss being maybe to Alabama. I believe they can handle Oklahoma. So Missouri is definitely a playoff hopeful. The team believes it. I believe they can make it. And who knows how far they can take it, honestly. All right. Let's look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma might take a slide. Now, Oklahoma ran the Big 12 for years. I mean, when Texas was down, Oklahoma was winning. I think they might have won 5 or 6 Big 12 championships straight. And what's funny is the last 3 seasons, they haven't won the Big 12. All right, so that's a little slide right there. I know Lincoln Riley left. They're not dealing with that. They actually have Brett Venables, who came from Clemson. So this will stay as strong. This will stay a pretty strong team, organization, and whatnot. Program. However, it's pretty tough, and moving to the SEC is not any easier. And what's crazy is they only returned 2 starters on offense, a wide receiver and a running back. So Oklahoma can definitely run into some hiccups here. All right. Looking at their schedule, they could lose to Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, Ole Miss. They play Missouri, Alabama, and LSU. Damn. Yeah, Oklahoma is it's not going to be a good year for them. And they lost Dylan Gabriel, the one player they should have kept or should have tried to keep. I know Oregon has hella NIL money. They can probably buy themselves to a championship in the coming years, if not this year. You know, Oregon is really good for this season. So they own the Big 12, but they're definitely not ready to own the SEC this year, okay? Stock Tennessee. Tennessee they've been one of my favorite teams in the SEC to watch. I mean, they're always in the East with Georgia. I like to call Tennessee the SEC underachievers. They've had talents. They've had seasons recently of talent hauls that compares to Florida, Georgia, Bama, LSU, and whatever. But they just seem to not be able to get over the hump. They just can't see it, you know. So that's why I call them the underachievers of the SEC. But you know that just like any other SEC team, they're having top tier talent in this program, and they're really bullish on the quarterback. I'm about to butcher his name again, Nico. I'm just calling him Nico. He's a super freshman, I believe. Is he a 5-star? I don't know. He might be a red shirt. I'd have to double check on that, guys. But they're pretty bullish on him. They finished 9-4 last season. I believe they'll finish around the same standard this year. Let's take a look at their schedule. They play NC State in Charlotte. That's where I'm at, guys. So I'll definitely be able to check out that game and get a good eye on freshman quarterback Nico. All right. They play at Oklahoma. So those are 2 really early tests with some other tough games. Georgia, and they play Bama. And Florida as well. The Georgia game's an away game the only away game out of all of those, okay? And Oklahoma. So we're definitely going to see how that orange handles it. All right. Let's just touch base on some other teams. Auburn's been an exciting team it's been that long, last 15 years since they had Cam Newton. Because they're always like an out of nowhere team. You know, they won the championship with Cam Newton. When Nick Marshall was there, they had the option offense, went to the championship game. I remember Trey Mason out there getting it. They lost to Florida State in that one. And now they're returning the fourth Russian offensive attack in the SEC with a trio of running backs, a quarterback who I saw had over 500 yards rushing. But they had the most lackluster passing offense in the conference with 162 average yards per game. All right. So we're going to see here what kind of Auburn we're getting. I don't know what to expect. I hope we're seeing flashing colors and boom. I at least hope they take out Alabama in the last game of the season in the Iron Bowl. All right. So one key little stat about them, they might have the best kicker in the nation, Alex McPherson. He was perfect last year, 13 to 13 on field goals and 40 to 40 for PATs. So we'll see. I expect to see some improvement from Auburn this season. Okay. Kentucky, another middle tier team. The run defense is good with Deion Walker, big ass defensive tackle, 55 tackles last season with 7.5 sacks. They'll be middle tier. They could do a little better just depending on that quarterback, Brock Vandagriff. Okay, I got that one. We'll see how he plays this year. And what are some other teams we got here? Oh, real quick, I want to touch base on Florida. Florida is not looking too good. They've had 2 straight losing seasons with Billy Napier's his first 2 years being a head coach. And going into this third season, I mean, they got good players. But let's just take a look at their schedule real quick. They're playing 7 preseason top 25 SEC teams, all right? At Tennessee, they play Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, and at Texas. Leave it in the comments. Do you think Billy Napier will have a winning record or a losing record and get fired this year? It's not looking good. It's that's a uphill battle that they're staring at. Okay. All right. So we've done pretty much most of the good teams. Oh, and one of the middle tiers, Texas A&M. Don't know too much about them. They get some players, Jimbo's out of there. Mike Elko is the new head coach. So Texas A&M, they play Notre Dame pretty early in the year. I want to say, is it week 1? Yes. They play Notre Dame week 1. That's a great litmus test, or not litmus test, barometer for Texas A&M. So we'll definitely have some more deets and stats about Texas A&M after that game, depending on how that plays out. They pound Notre Dame, which I doubt. I have Notre Dame winning that one. So we'll definitely see. All right. Hey, it's time to be excited, guys. College football starts this weekend. Week 0, Florida State at Georgia Tech, or I think it's I always forget. They're playing in Ireland. It's the something Lingus matchup or whatever. Take Georgia Tech on 11 plus 11.5, guys. So it's just time to be excited about some football, some college football with the new playoff format. Here at We the Champs, we've done preseason preview of all the Power 4 conferences, and it's time to see it come to fruition, see how right we are, to see how wrong we are, and it honestly doesn't matter. We're just excited for some college football, guys. So comment, like, subscribe, share, bell notification so you don't miss any action. We're going to be on college football every week for the football season, all right? We the Champs. We out. Peace.